Hey, what's happening, y'all? It's me coming back at you again with another vid. Now, this video is going to be a collection of news and updates that I've missed for the last couple of days. It's funny though, because if you miss 2 days of not reporting what's going on in the world of boxing, you're missing pretty much you're missing a lot. So, a lot of things can happen in the sport within 24 hours or even within 30 minutes. So, it is what it is. You know me, guys. Outside this, I do have a very, very busy schedule. So, try to stay, up to date with a lot of things. Anyways, I want to start this video off with a slight little rant. Apparently, there's an individual who did not like, or I should say, was very unhappy with the hangout that the boxing librarian had hosted along with myself and Sean Newton. And he went on to make a mock video running down Gennady Golovkin's career, which he spoke a lot of gibberish in that video. And you guys know who I'm talking about. He constantly changed his name. He went from Holyfield fan to Hurt Don't Get Hurt to now Maxwell Bear, the so-called YTBC intellect, who feels that he's so superior intellectual-wise to where everybody else is stupid and dumb. Well, it's funny because this so-called YTBC intellect did not know that Miguel Cotto and Manny Pacquiao fought at a catchweight for a world title, which he gives Manny Pacquiao credit for winning catchweight fights at world titles, dragging guys down from their normal weight, while he ridiculed Andre Ward for allegedly draining Chad Dawson, which in reality, it was Chad Dawson who's called out Andre Ward. It was Chad Dawson who said that he'll go down to 168 and fight Andre. And all Andre Ward did was accept the challenge. So it was Chad Dawson who put himself in that situation, not Andre Ward. But yet he still finds a way to put the 100% blame on Andre Ward for the reason why Chad Dawson did what he did. And give Pacquiao a full pass for draining other guys, winning more title fights at catchweights than anyone else in history. But needless to say, he said that, and he directed this towards me in the library. It's very, very obvious. You can see between the lines in that video where the librarian and myself are inflating fighters' careers when we do their breakdowns. Now, first things first, let me tell you something, Mr. Maxwell Bear. When I break down a fighter's career, I go through it in detail. Okay, I go through the number of title fights they've had, the number of losses they had, and yes, I also list the level of opponents that they fought as well. Even subpar opponents. Every great fighter does that, have fought subpar competition. Even fighters from the past. We all know that. The librarian knows that. That's why we break it down in detail. The problem is that people like you accuse us of inflating fighters' careers while you're doing that now with Gennady Golovkin. You know why? Because you had ridiculed Hopkins and Hagler careers, their middleweight runs at their middleweight title runs, because they fought blown up welterweights in Oscar De La Hoya, Felix Trinidad, who, by the way, was the favorite to beat Hopkins in their fight, Thomas Hearns and Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard. Well, even though Hagler didn't beat Leonard, but it is what it is. But yet, when I pointed out to you that the welterweights have fought middleweights historically, you dismissed it and said, well, Golovkin will never do that. He will never take that extreme measure to fight a welterweight, which in reality, I told you that he was pursuing a fight with Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao welterweights, and you dismissed it. And when the librarian myself had pointed out to you that Golovkin has fought smaller guys like Kasi Uma, Norihiro Yoshida, Matthew Macklin, and Gabe Rosado. And you still dismissed it. You called me an idiot. You wished death upon me in the library, and you blocked me. And I think you blocked the librarian as well. I'm not sure if that happened, but I think the librarian blocked you. But it is what it is. And when I also pointed out the fact to you that Erislandy Lara, when the Erislandy Lara and the Gennady Golovkin fiasco came about, I also showed you and showed out factual evidence that Erislandy Lara's people, it was Golovkin's people who dismissed the Lara fight in the beginning. They ducked Lara. Okay, when I showed you that very fact, and you still got upset and dismissed it. Yeah, and also the schooling that I gave you on Hopkins' career, and you blocked me after that. Wow. YTBC intellect, who gets so agitated when people challenges him so intellectually to the point that he can't take it. He acts like a belligerent child to the point that he blocks you. He'll call you names. He'll make subliminal videos calling everybody stupid and dumb. And yet, your only claim of victory on the YTBC platform is the Alexander Povetkin situation. Bravo. All right, let me tell you something about that. Now, I would believe that I was wrong about one thing in that situation. I was wrong about Alexander Povetkin being banned after the fact that his B sample came back positive. Okay? I was wrong about that. I would concede to that. However, there is some reason. His case still has reasonable doubt, and he's not. To me, he has not been fully vindicated. Why? Because based off the WBC's ruling, they are making Povetkin pay out of pocket for his year, for clean boxing, the clean boxing drug testing program year round, and they rescinded his mandatory status from him. They're making him fight for his mandatory position against Tavern. To me, that's not a full vindication, and yet they even stated in that article, at the last title of the article, where they said that if there's any further information pertaining to Macedonia in this particular case, we will take action deemed necessary, even up to punishment within those lines. That's what they said. So they're still under suspicion about Povetkin. Okay, so he's right now cleared on a provisional basis, so he's not fully vindicated. Okay, now that we got that out of the way. It's funny though, because when I put out a video about Kell Brook calling out Gennady Golovkin, you dismissed it. You said that, I fell for it. Kell Brook wasn't serious. He just calling out Golovkin's name just to propagate his fight with Kevin Bizier. But yet, when Golovkin actually announced that he was fighting Kell Brook, you give him a pass. While you ridicule Hopkins and Hagler for fighting welterweights. Well, talk about double standard one-on-one. And another dumbass comment you made recently about Andre Ward. About Gennady Golovkin. The reason why he's the best fighter in the world today, because we talk about him constantly. Which is a dumbass comment. Okay, if you're going to say that, then you should also concede to the fact that Andre Ward is perhaps the better fighter of the two. Because you constantly talk about Andre Ward. You constantly slander him wherever you get a chance to. And when Andre Ward actually stepped up and signed on to face Sergey Kovalev, which is now, by the way, fully official, which you've made a 35-minute video claiming that may not happen. You still don't give Andre credit for that. Wow, okay. Talk about jumping the gun, right? When you jumped the gun on the fact that when Kathy Duva came out and said that Andre Ward wasn't there at the press conference, even though she admitted that same very day that she was already told in advance that Andre Ward wasn't going to be there. Wow, okay. All right. So my point is this, man. If you didn't like what transpired between me, Sean Newton, and the librarian, why don't you unblock me? Come to my hangout. We'll talk about it live. Look, we could talk about Gennady Golovkin. Let's talk about his middleweight run. Let's talk about why you think he's the best fighter alive today. Even though, if you think he's the best fighter on this planet right now, even though he has yet to clean out his division, he's yet to fight an elite name, he has yet to fight the top guy in that division, which is Canelo Alvarez. Believe it or not, he is still the linear middleweight champion. I don't like that, but that's where the record book states, and that's what it is at this point. Okay? So, even though he's only beaten 3 world champions out of 36 pro fights, possibly 4 now. All right? And the fact that he's only won 1 actual title in the ring while he was given 2 other belts. Let's talk about that in my hangout, all right? Let's match him up against the likes of Harry Greb, Sugar Ray Robinson, Tony Zale, Bernard Hopkins, Marvin Hagler. I can go on and on and on. Mickey Walker. I can go on. Let's match him up against all those guys if you claim he's the greatest middleweight alive ever since whoever it is. Okay? Let's talk about that, okay? And obviously you may not like that conversation, but all I gotta say is, even though Sean and I have have our beef, whatever, we have our differences. At least he came on the live platform and talked to us, me and the librarian. At least he had the guts to do it. So why don't you step up and why don't you unblock me and come to my platform and we'll talk about it. Okay? So I've extended my invitation to you. All right, now on to other news. Now, there was a video that surfaced about Kell Brook on a sparring session with Liam Smith, and Here's my take on that. Kell Brook didn't look too spectacular, especially in the first round of that sparring session, where Lee Smith was getting the best of him. He was hitting him with some body punches, hooks, and he was able to back up Kell Brook. And it's no surprise because Liam Smith is a pressure fighter. But the only the Achilles heel to that is that Kell Brook is so used to fighting on the front foot. He's so used to being the aggressor. In a way, he's so used to being the bigger and stronger guy going into fights. But this time around, he may not have that advantage going up against Gennady Golovkin because Gennady Golovkin is a naturally stronger guy. He's much more technical, and he can throw his shots in various places. He can put a lot of mustard into those shots. And so, particularly where in that first round ended when Kell Brook had left himself wide open after he threw an inside hook. Liam Smith countered with a left hook to the head. And man, imagine Golovkin hitting Brook with that. But hey, Brook does have a strong chin, so we'll see how good his chin is when he's going up against Golovkin. Who knows? However, Brook did the best of Liam Smith in the round. He started to apply more pressure, like he's so accustomed to doing. He sticked out that jab, which bothered Liam Smith. And that's the thing about Kell Brook. He has that piston quick jab, which disrupts a lot of his opponent's timing and whatnot, throws them off their rhythm. And he was able to throw some body hooks effectively. And his speed is questionable, particularly his foot speed, because I don't think it's quite adapt to the weight gain that is normally that his speed is normally effective at welterweight. So I don't know, man. I just don't see his speed being effective in this fight against Golovkin. But then again, this is only sparring. Sparring tells a different story because when Keith Thurman and Sean Porter had the sparring sessions, Sean Porter got the best of Keith Thurman in all the sparring sessions. And we've seen the result in the actual fight where Keith Thurman got the best of Sean Porter in 12 rounds. So, yeah. So, like I said, sparring's a different story compared to an actual fight. Canelo Alvarez had recently shot at Gennady Golovkin. And he said within the lines, a quote that, I fought Arslan Dilar. Why don't you step up? He pretty much took a shot at Golovkin for being dismissive of Arslan Dilar. And he said, look, within the lines, he said, look, Arslan Dilar is a great fighter. He's been calling you out for a long time. I don't understand why you're dismissing him. If I had the guts to fight him, you should too. He's a great fighter. He's a great fighter, and you're a great fighter. Why don't you step up to the plate and do exactly what I did? Okay? And, all of us have been calling for the Lara fight, with the exception of the Golovkin fans. And we all agreed Arslan Dilar would lose that fight. However, we all know that Arslan Dilar has a style that would give Golovkin so many problems, so many fits, that he's going to look bad in that fight. And I think Golovkin and his team don't want to risk it, and that's the reason why they were dismissive about him in the beginning. Now, to be fair, Lars' team did not make it, didn't even reach out Golovkin's team to even make an offer, okay? They were really serious about the fight in the past. I understand that. However, most recently, after Lara had fought Monterosian in the rematch fight, he called him out again and said, look, our teams can get together. Let's make it happen. So I don't know why, again, it's just, to me, it's surprising that, Hugo Sanchez said that Golovkin can handle everybody at 154, but yeah, he's being dismissive of Arslan Dilar. I don't get it. But, I don't know. It is what it is on that. And Chris Eubank had some things to say, too, about the Kell Brook and the Golovkin fight. He said that Kell Brook has no fire. He has no desire. He's just happy to get a payday from this fight. Well, I mean, that could be possibly true because Kell Brook has been screaming about getting a big payday for the longest now. But needless to say, though, I have to say this and I have to say it again. I want to see that Eubank fight rather than the Golovkin fight. And to me, Chris Eubank Jr., he's an adult. I think he needs to go tell his father, if he hasn't done so already. I think he needs to go tell his father and say, look, I want to be part of the negotiation process, and I get these big fights that I need for it. Because,
Eubank Jr. can be, we all know he's a diva and very difficult to deal with in the negotiation table and whatnot. And to me, the way that situation was handled, he's almost sabotaging his son's career. And this is, no, I have so much respect and admiration for Chris Eubank. I mean, he's a great fighter. He's had a great career. He's had a number of title wins and title fights. So, to me, I just think that he needs to bite the bullet on some occasions, get the best offer that was given to your son, which I felt that was the best offer given to him to fight Golovkin, and he should have taken it. Okay, so Eubank Jr. is hoping to get that Golovkin fight by the end of next year. So I don't know. To me, I think that Eubank needs to, Junior needs to tell his father to get out of the way, or if you want to be in the way, just let me be part of the negotiation process. That's all I have to say. Let me know what you think. Sign off. Peace.